Welcome to the Hawks Talk podcast. All things Blackburn Hawks.
In behind the defence, cuts around, scores! Blackburn Hawks win this game 8 goals to 5.
All the latest news, player interviews and much more.
Shoots, scores!
Hawks Talk.
Our guests on the 23rd episode of the Hawks Talk podcast. Something the fans have asked for a while now, and something we've tried to arrange for a while as well. We've got 2 young, talented players with bright futures ahead of them. First up, Blackburn Hawks forward Josh Crawley. Josh, how are you?
I'm all right, Graham. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. And we're also joined by Hawks defenceman in his debut senior season, Bailey Thomas. How are you, Bailey?
I'm good, thank you very much.
Good stuff. And as usual, my co-host, my partner in crime, Aidan Wignall. How are you?
I'm absolutely fantastic at the minute, mate. We're having a good month in January, taking on some things, beating the Dragons this weekend to get to the final of the cup. So, you know, it's been a great New Year start so far.
Things are looking good. So we'll kick things off then like we normally do and talk about the most recent games, like Aidan mentioned there. At the point of recording, we've just beaten the D-side Dragons home away in the League Cup semi-finals. A goal in that away game for you, Josh. Tell us your thoughts on that game.
I thought it was a good game. I think like what Dara said in the interview, he said it was closer than the score kind of depicted. And then I think in the third period, we just kind of pulled away from them. You know, they became less competitive and we just pulled away from them. And because we've got a lot of depth in our team, especially.
Yeah,
so I
definitely.
think we do well in those third periods, you know, especially we got a fit team, you know. So I think that's where like we came away from them.
And what about the return leg, Josh, back at the Nest? How was that game? A lot of atmosphere in the crowd, wasn't there?
Yeah, it's always great to get loads of people in the building. It makes it easy to play. Gives the players something to play for. But yeah, I think they came out well. Obviously, being a couple, I think it was 5 goals down. I thought they were going to try and, you know, just do really physical, go into it, but they're really offensive. I think Dara's goal really, you know, lit the building up. You know, got everyone going, and yeah, it was a great game.
Speaking of goals, and we mentioned it just there, your goal away at the Dragons, popped the water bottle as well. Pretty special, that one as well.
Yeah, it was. I actually didn't realise I popped the bottle until I saw the video. So that was always a nice surprise. But yeah, I think it's one of the nicer goals that I've scored this season, you know, because the gap over his shoulder actually wasn't there until the last minute that I looked, and then I saw the goalie cheating, and I was like, oh, you know what, I'm just going to go for it.
Nice. How did you find those games, Bailey?
Yeah, it's good. Obviously, it's good to get the win and get into the final. I love playing at home, just the atmosphere we've got, and when everyone's there, it's just buzzing. And yeah, like Josh said, it helps us play better as well. It gives us confidence when we're playing at home. And obviously, when I'm on the ice, just trying to do my best to stop them from scoring, obviously. And but yeah, I think we played really well as a team. Like Josh said, we're really strong, and when it comes to big games, we can really put that together and the strength in the team. So yeah, I think we played really well.
So let's go back in time now. You both come from pretty big hockey families. Both your dads have played at probably the highest level in this country. But tell us how you both got into the sport. Josh, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I started skating when I was about maybe 3 or 4, really early on. But I didn't actually want to play outside. Yeah, small like you know when you have those little skates with the 2 blades on them?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been there before, obviously, just because my dad went skating, just because, you know, he was an ex-player. And I actually didn't want to play until I was maybe 5, 6, because my dad didn't actually try and get me into it. I just heard him talking about it, you know, obviously my dad and Bailey's dad being really good friends, spending a lot of time around them, hearing them talk about it. And I was like, oh, I want whatever you're talking about, I want to give this a try. It sounds pretty good. So yeah, I just got into it that way.
What about you, Bailey? Tell us your journey into hockey.
Yeah, well, obviously I've grew up with Josh and Nick as well. we're quite family close. So just hearing from it from, obviously I grew up watching my dad play, and getting to the age of maybe 6, I started learning to skate and learning to play on hockey basics. And that's kind of where it started. And I've obviously I live near Josh, so we've been on the same team since junior hockey, and being mates as well. It's kind of me going into a club. I knew Josh was there, so I kind of, it's kind of nice. I kind of like this sport. And then my brother started playing a bit. But yeah, just from growing up and the impact it has on my family and everything, it's just kind of kept it going.
So, I mean, obviously, like you're both pretty young, coming into the game yourselves. I mean, Josh, like we can see with yourself, you've got like you're on a 3-way with Storm, Telford, and obviously yourselves there. Where do how much time do you actually spend training, and do you actually find any time for yourself?
Yeah. So I practice with the Storm every day, pretty much, or whenever on the ice in the morning. And then usually, obviously, because I only practice in the evening with Blackburn on a Thursday, and then obviously Telford when I can. So getting out of the way early, and then doing what I can with my courses and stuff online, and then after that is pretty much free time. So I wouldn't say I have quite a bit of free time to do what I want, especially get the rest in, because it's very, very important, especially when you're on the ice every single day. So it's important so you don't burn out and get too tired.
Yeah. So I mean, when you obviously you're training with 3 different teams, is the training methods very similar, or is it like, have you got a different one with Mike at Storm and Dom at Blackburn and the Telford guys, or is it all pretty much very similar in what you're doing?
Yeah, like at Blackburn and I think at Telford, I think it's more of you trying to cover everything in one practice. So obviously you only practice once a week, or at Telford a couple of times a week.
Yeah.
Whereas at Storm, you can work on lots of different things each session and really go in depth of it. Whereas at Blackburn, obviously it's a bit more difficult considering we're not on the ice that often.
Yeah.
So in terms of, obviously you've got to take everything in that you're hearing at Blackburn, because you're only there once a week, Whereas at Storm, there's lots of time with the boys and with the coach, talk things over, really, really well structured, which I think also helps my game, thinking very fast, because you have to think very, very fast. I think that's one of the biggest differences with Elite League. But yeah, so
does that help with your thinking then when you're obviously playing at Elite League? You're getting closed down a lot quicker, right? You've got to move the puck a lot more. Does that help with your thinking and, make it maybe that little bit easier playing at Blackburn, or?
Yeah, of course it does. Because, like when I've played games with Storm in the past, there's a lot less time than you think. You're getting closed down by players really fast. And I think at Blackburn, I have more time than I think sometimes, because obviously it's not as high paced. It's not as it's not as organized or as it is at Elite League. So I think I can just spend that extra bit of time on the puck, get my head up, look a bit more instead of, looking for the chip, making a bit of a nicer play. So yeah, it does help.
Brilliant. And Bailey, obviously you could only start playing for us in November. That's when you just turned 16, am I correct?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, you must have been itching from when when you originally signed for us. I think I met you. When did I meet you? I met you back in August on Media Day, I think it was. Yeah. And then it's like you must have been itching there to get on the ice. For waiting for that 16th birthday to come around when you can get on. Yeah,
no. Luckily, it was obviously before Christmas, and wasn't too long of a wait. But it was just sitting at home, and I could be playing this weekend, and it's like. Obviously, I came and watched Josh the season before and this season. I came to the games, but it's just the urge to go out there and play. It's just through the roof. It's just I've training with my junior team, and then training with the Aces as well. It's just I just want to play a game.
Yeah.
Obviously, you train all week for the games at the weekend, but then for me, they weren't there. So it was just patience. And then finally in November, I turned 16, I can legally play.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like, you've got yourself, you're going into your GCSEs, aren't you, this year?
Yeah.
And then, essentially you've got that. And then, it makes me feel old at 44.
I was going to say that's a long time ago.
A very long time ago. But when you see you on the ice, to Bailey, it's like you've been there all the time. In such a way, it's great to watch you. I mean, do you feel any pressure or a little bit more pressure going up, especially with some of the seasoned lads that are on there? Or is it just, are you just enjoying being there?
Yeah, well, I'd love training with the boys, meeting up with them at the weekends and games and traveling home and away. But a lot of it is enjoyment and just being around them all. I know Liam's training with them before. So just getting into the team, there's a bit of pressure, but because obviously you don't want to make mistakes. I just keep playing and just trying to do my best.
Yeah, the people like Az and Luke and Bobby, some of the older ones, do they help a bit more with yourself? Do they give you a bit more time, or
if we're working on something, they'll come over and tell me what to do, or if I need help, then they'll tell me what to do. But they're really helpful. In some face-off drills we've been doing, they'll tell me where to pass to, and then I'll go straight to them and I can make that pass and makes a nice breakout.
Yeah. Does that help on the ice as well when, you're still keeping them like little hints and tips in your head while, while you may be in a summer thing there, yeah?
Yeah, there's a lot of tricks in this senior hockey game, so I've got to watch out for them. All the older guys know all these tricks, and in games you've got to be careful because if I slip up, then they can just go straight around me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, same with yourself, Josh. You're still pretty young yourself. Do you still, get the older guys sort of putting their arm around you, giving you a bit of help, from there?
Oh yeah, 100%. Especially when I was in Bailey's position last season, new to the team. They just made me feel really welcome. Like I was one of the boys. I'd been there for a while. Felt like I've been there for ages when I first came in, it's always good to see. The organisation obviously very welcoming as well. It just makes it a bit easier for us young guys to come in, and obviously been playing junior hockey all your life and you're coming into a senior hockey team, especially your first senior hockey team.
Yeah,
quite intimidating because you're going in with lots of different people, lots of different characters. You never met them before. The boys helped me out a lot. They've all got different experiences. They've all played at various different levels. Like Bobby played National League, and you got Andy, wasn't there last season, but this season played at Storm.
Yeah.
They help out a lot.
Yeah. Do they sort of have you back if you get in church and stuff? So, I mean, on Sunday, like say you went past and we had the pantomime villain Will Harper there. He looked like he was chirping a few. I think I seen Bailey having a bit with Gary Simpson as well. So do the older lads sort of have you back, or is it that's something that you're holding your own on there, giving back as good as you get?
Yeah, especially when you're on a line. Like I was on a line with Paul for quite a bit. Paul doesn't take anything from anybody, especially since he was on a line with me and Dara. Two younger guys, we're kind of a main target to that kind of stuff, trying to get us to bite back.
Yeah.
They help out a lot, give you a bit of reassurance when you're on the ice. Just gives you a little bit more wiggle room, just having that reassurance that, if anything happens, we'll back you up, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, well, that's cool. That's cool. Looking at it as well, like I said, what about your futures for both of you? Are you both hoping to go like up to elite league and make hockey a full-time thing, or are you both working on careers in the background?
Me personally, I think I'm just giving hockey everything I've got right now. Obviously, elite league is a great place to play, and then you never know, and if any other options come up in the future, or like anywhere abroad, obviously that'd be great as well. So I'm just giving it my all at the moment, and then. Obviously, if it doesn't work out, there's always time. I'm only 17, so
yeah,
it's just you just got to give one thing your all, and we'll see where it takes you.
Yeah. What about yourself, Bailey?
Yeah, like Josh, he's going up the pathway of this country with the elite league and the league we're in at the moment. But yeah, like Josh said, time is very key to where we are. We're both young, so we've got loads of time to figure stuff out, and also give it all. So yeah, just obviously I want to make it to the best. So best in this country, go up the levels, the leagues, and try, get in my position and get into the league. But yeah, I'd like to follow my dad's footsteps, and I don't think I'd make it to Steelers, but if I could make it to Steelers, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
And then from there, if I'm still young, or there might be other doors to different opportunities, so I'll just take whatever's there is, because I just want to do the best that I can possibly do.
Yeah, I think as Graham mentioned earlier, I think, obviously Bailey, your dad, yeah, I didn't know much about him until we said we were bringing you on the podcast, and just looking at his sheet there, he's like literally Alty Tigers, Alty Aces, London Steelers, GB in England. That's some sheet there. Do you find your dad supportive, or is he your greatest critic? Is he your greatest critic in the same sort of breath?
Yeah,
you can tell the truth, Bailey.
He's to be honest, he is good. He's very critical, but in a smart way. He tells me what I'm doing wrong, and obviously I'll learn from that, and he'll tell me what I'm doing right as well. So if I'm doing something wrong, we're obviously the same position, so he can just tell me what I'm doing wrong, and then I can work on that and then get better and proceed at other stuff. Yeah, I think some of the stuff he says, it can be quite critical, but it's a way of getting it in my head, so it sticks there and I don't do anything wrong the next time.
Yeah. What about yourself? Sorry, Josh, is Nick the same, or?
Yeah, obviously he's been a coach for a while now, longer than I've been alive. So if he sees anything in my game that he thinks I need to work on, or he thinks I could do better, so he's letting me know, and but there's also like a sense of kind of letting me figure it out for myself as well, because obviously I'm new in senior hockey at the moment. It's only my second season, and I'm trying to move up the ranks. So I think part of it is just also trying to figure it out yourself. I get stick off Bailey's dad as well. I've got both ends of the stick there.
I think you got Mike on the sideline as well, now. Kane's dad. So does Mike chuck his 50p in wheel both as well?
I think at Storm, like he's also my young guy there. He looks after me. He's not. But if I'm doing something wrong or something needs amending, he'll tell me. He'll let me know. Just to. Because at the end of the day, it's all just to help me out. Because I need to know to get better and to continue playing at that level. So yeah, he's really helpful, and yeah, I think me and Bailey are both lucky to have people so close to us that can give us like this feedback.
Yeah, that's awesome. So looking up, I mean, obviously we've qualified early for the playoffs as well. Josh, you got the MVP in the playoff semis last year as well. How did that feel?
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, it was a great semi. It was a great first, senior playoff game or semi-final. I think I was very pleased with my performance. I think I got 3 goals against Solihull and then 1 against Billingham. But
yeah, you did.
Yeah. It's just kind of having that confidence to step up. Especially at such high stakes, you've only got 1 game you got to win that game to go through to the next round. So I think he's kind of, because I think if you're hesitant, that can do more harm than being confident. So I think I was just confident to step up, to try and take the game into my own hands, especially if things aren't going our way at the start. So yeah, I was really pleased, and the boys were as well. So it was great.
That hat-trick was something special, to be honest. I think when you look at it, we don't get to that final without you scoring them 3 goals. And all 3 of them were well-placed goals. You were in the right position for all of them. Great hockey IQ. I know I'm pumping your tyres up a little bit, but it was a superb performance. And I remember after the game going into the bar, and I just saw your dad. Your dad was so happy, and I just said that was a fantastic performance, and for such a young lad to have that confidence and composure, it's a sign of things to come, I think.
Yeah, the three goals they weren't flashy, top corners, but I think being at the right place at the right time,
100%, yeah.
and also especially in playoff games, they can get really nitty and gritty, and I think those fancy goals aren't really where the game's won usually in those kind of games. So I think just make sure you head down, driving the net, getting those loose pucks, and obviously it worked out, and yeah.
I was just going to say, sometimes it doesn't matter how they go in, as long as they do go in. That's all that counts, isn't it? Really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they see.
One thing I want to ask you both is, you touched on it earlier about the pressure, and we've mentioned your dads and things like that. Both successful players. I mean, Josh, your dad played for the Storm and various clubs around the Northwest, and Bailey, your dad, played for the Steelers, GB, and I've said this before in a couple of other podcasts, probably in the conversation for one of the best British defencemen. I know we'll love that one. Just give us a fiver when you see us.
I want to cut that bit out. Don't let him see that.
You guys, you're so young. I mean, we've touched on it, like Josh, you're 17, Bailey, you're 16. Do you ever feel any kind of pressure, like coming from those families and obviously following on from both your dad's footsteps?
Yeah, it's obviously it's a big thing. But like I said before, to my family as well, it's so massive. It's just that I want to do good and impress everyone. That's, I've had a tough couple of years, so just to keep going in my dad's footsteps and make everyone proud. It's just, I want to do it for my dad, my mum, and just make everyone proud.
What about you, Josh?
Obviously my dad played for the Storm, and he got to that high level quite fast, because considering he started playing hockey when he was only like 15.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a very kind of late start to his career, but obviously he developed quite fast into the high ranks over here, and obviously the game was a lot different over there, a lot more physical, especially as you can see by me, he wasn't the biggest player on the ice, but it's kind of having that grit that he had, and that kind of like determination that even though he's smaller than everyone else, you don't have to shy away from like such a high level. So yeah, obviously I'm always trying to better my dad. It's something I'm kind of chasing, but I'll just see where it takes me, and hopefully I'll be able to surpass him in that field. So
awesome. Do you want to tell us and some of the listeners as well how you become a Hawks player? Where did that come from?
I was in Canada. Obviously, 'cause I spent a year in Canada over there at prep school, and I was coming home that next, after that year, to do my GCSEs, and obviously I knew I wanted to get into senior hockey, and my dad, obviously, I think my dad already knew Graham, so I think they kind of had their eyes on me. And we just got in contact, and obviously I wanted to play senior hockey, considering I was old enough when I came back. So, and heard the organisation's great, and I just kind of got straight into it, and made the right decision.
What about you, Bailey?
Yeah, obviously I came and watched Josh last season. If I had nothing on, I'd come watch him. But I think my dad's played with Aaron Davies at Phoenix, I think, one season. I think my dad's last season, I think he played with him.
Yeah.
But obviously they didn't know then that his son would be playing the same team. But just from watching Josh play last season, sorry, I kind of felt like, this is such a good team, the atmosphere is great, and it'd be so good to play there. But obviously, when I was playing junior, under 16s, we had an amazing season. We went undefeated till the semi-final. And we had an amazing season. And I thought after that, the next step would be senior hockey. We lost a couple of players after the playoffs to different countries. They went abroad. That was kind of their next opportunity and their next step in their career. And obviously my next step was playing senior hockey in this country. So 18s wasn't really the next option because we wouldn't have a great team. So I've trained with the Aces at Altrincham, And then obviously I trained with Blackburn this season. And then, it's just kind of gone from there.
Brilliant. Obviously, you two played a lot of hockey together through the junior systems and things like that. So I want to ask each of you to tell a story about the other one. It can be funny, it can be a compliment, or however you want to play it. Who would like to go first?
Oh, I'm gonna have to think. I have to think on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think.
Yeah, you have to give us a second.
Yeah, we'll come back to that one then. So I guess I can ask you both a question because it's our podcast. We get free reign, don't we, Ed? And we can do that.
We do.
So we'll start with you, Bailey. I want to know your first shift for the Blackburn Hawks. It was an away game to Solihull. Just tell the listeners what happened on that first shift.
Well, I fell over, didn't I? I think I went into the game obviously nervous. You know, this is my first senior game. It's massive, and I just I went in thinking, oh, I'm going to have pressure on me straight away. And, you know, I played a game for the Aces the week before thinking, oh, you know, this kind of eased me into it because they're in the league below. And it did take me, I think, maybe a couple periods to just relax and realise how much easier it is. There's not as much pressure on you. So then when it came to playing at Solihull away, first shift, I just basically, I don't even know. I didn't know what to do. I got the puck came straight to me after the face-off, and I was just like, oh my word, what do I do with this? But after a couple shifts playing and my D partners, Ethan and Sam, they were really helpful during that game. They kept talking, having a good time, and I felt more comfortable throughout the game. And it kind of came to me, just I needed to relax, slow things down, and I had lots more time than I actually thought I had. So I think it just slowly came to me, and I needed to realise that this league's a lot easier than junior league. You haven't got people coming at you left, right and centre. So it was just, I did fall over though. So
I mean, it's a bit of a baptism of fire though. Your first game against the Solihull Barons, who a lot of the listeners will know are no slouches in this league, and when you've got players like Nick Otterson coming at you, it's you're going to be in for a long night.
Yeah, obviously I heard all the good stories about them and how tough their team they were. So obviously this being my first game, it was a tough one, but it finally came to me by the end of the game.
What did your dad say to you after the game about your first shift?
I think he was just laughing at me. But yeah, we had a nice conversation in the car, just talking about what I need to do and just what I need to do in the future and do that right next time I play.
Fantastic.
Took out opponents, though. You've got Mr. Yokoyama for an next trip to Solihull, 9th of Feb, I believe.
Yeah.
Are you aware of Zach? Have you played against him before, or?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't know if he was playing in that game against when we played.
No, he just signed for him the last couple of weeks. So he was briefly at Telford, and then he went to Romford, and now he's just signed. He played the last 2 seasons that I'm aware of at the Lions.
Yeah.
All right.
So, you know, he's been a fan favourite at Blackburn's for a couple of seasons now. So
he
enjoy it.
Yeah, he likes the drama, doesn't he?
He loves it.
And I suppose, Josh, I'll ask you a question as well. What's been your favourite goal that you've scored for the Hawks? I'll tell you mine of yours in a second, but what's been your favourite goal that you've scored? Because there's quite a few to pick from.
Yeah, I think you might have the same idea as me. Maybe I think it's got to be the cup final opening at home.
Yeah, boy.
You know, the building just erupted. It's probably the loudest I've ever heard a crowd when I've scored.
Yeah.
So you know, especially first goal of the game. You know, it's the go-ahead goal. I think that just, you know, everyone's hyped. Everyone's like ready to go after that first goal, especially, and the energy was just through the roof. So I think that kind of set us up for the rest of the final. So.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with everything you said there. That is my favourite goal. I've spoken about it on numerous podcasts, and I've spoke to your dad about it. And I've been watching hockey at Blackburn for a long time, and I have never heard a reaction to a goal like I did for that game. And I think that goal is the reason we won that cup final. I know that might sound a bit strange, but I think that it just completely rocked him. I think if you don't score that goal at that time, it's a different game for me. And to beat him up high near side, Tom Brown, who's a fantastic netminder, like he must have absolutely hated that, absolutely hated that. So that's definitely my favourite goal you've scored, I think.
Yeah.
What about you, Aidan?
Right. I knew exactly where we were going with this when you asked that question. I think, the reaction, I've not heard one in the arena like that. And, I've been going a few years and I've been in the box for the last three. And that, literally, I think the roof did come off when you scored that goal. You put it in the right place. I think you even made the bottle move as well at the same time. He scored early, which is what we needed. He just needed to set a stall out. And, and like you said, Brown, I don't think Brown had liked that one. So that'll have been in his head throughout the whole, the whole period of Blackburn, and then possibly even up there in Billingham at the same time. So,
Yeah, I think especially.
Hopefully, go on.
Yeah, I think especially, because Billingham, they're a confident team. And I think, that the egos are quite high going in, obviously, because they were top of the league. So I think, that goal maybe knocked the goalie's confidence a bit. And I think he's a bit of a confidence goalie as well, And especially with a reaction like that from the crowd, I think it just completely shook him. So,
I mean, how did just going on to it now we're there? How did you feel coming out of them changing rooms on that night? Just I mean, it must have been a wall of noise that you came out to. Did it make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up? What was your feeling and the lads' feeling on the ice, just seeing the arena, on fire, really, if you will?
yeah, I think it just obviously it set me for the rest of the game, high energy, especially, it's such because like you said, it was really early on in the game. So I think it kind of gave us that momentum and the boys a lot of motivation to just, be ruthless, go hard to pucks and just completely try and dominate them.
Yeah, yeah. So no pressure then, but same again on the 22nd of Feb when we go again.
Yeah.
So we asked you a little bit earlier about some stories about each other when you've played together in the past and obviously in recent times. Have you managed to come up with some stories for us?
I've got one.
Go on.
Oh, God.
Obviously, me and Josh have been growing up for God knows how many years. But just like weekends was hockey based. It was just weekend was just hockey. It started off on a Friday night when we had to travel to Billingham at ridiculous times for conference training. And the weekend would basically start there. We'd go there, train there, and then obviously I'd stay at Josh's pretty much for the rest of the weekend. And we were young, we built dens and stuff, tried to make it fun, play the games, and then if we won, it'd be even better. But and then we'd go back to Josh's, chill Sunday nights and stuff like that. If we had morning skate on a Monday morning, then we would, our dads would go to the curry house, get drunk, and then we'd just stay at home and watch the film. But yeah, I think just growing up with Josh, just been, we've been pushing each other to be the best that we can be. And it's been fun as well. I mean, we're best mates. It's just everything we do we can have a laugh, and we'll never forget that. We obviously go to the caravan and stuff, but just all the memories that we've done together, I think they're all good. We should always have a laugh.
Nice. What about you, Josh?
I think I've got more of a funny story, but I remember when Bailey first came, one of his first practices at Manchester Phoenix, I think. Oh no, Trafford Tornadoes at the time it was, I think. And I remember Bailey he went over to get a drink of water, and obviously my dad was the coach as well. And obviously, because he was my mate, I was like, and obviously he was just kind of getting the hang of hockey. I remember I used to kind of ping pucks at the back of his legs. And my dad just used to shout at me whenever I got off the ice after it. It was just I don't know. I think it was because I'd been playing it for a bit, and he just kind of started. I just felt I don't know.
Got bullied. Still bullying to this day.
I was going to say, does he still do it now?
Nah, kind of over it now.
No,
Getting back on the power play drills.
massive lie.
Rattled. He's rattled.
That's brilliant. What players have stood out for you this season? Well, both of you really. For other teams, like which players do you know from your junior days that you think have improved that we've played against? I mean, there's probably a lot of Sheffield lads. They're quite a young roster. Maybe some Leeds players as well.
Yeah. A lot of them are obviously my age, so they grew up. I've been playing with them in juniors. A lot of them have been rivalries. So a lot of them for Sheffield, that Matthewman, we've had a rivalry going up. And yeah, and obviously Liam, me and Liam were both at Manchester Academy. So just growing up with Liam, and we're both at the same level now. Just kind of, it's just nice to see, to be honest. It's just we're both doing well, and going up together. It's just been dead fun.
What about you, Josh? Has there been any players from your junior days that have improved since then, or surprised you at all?
I mean, obviously, I've been playing with people who are my age, like Noah Carrion, obviously he had a short time with us at Blackburn before he went off to Telford. So yeah, I've grown up with Noah pretty much my whole hockey career. Like, I think he joined maybe Manchester Phoenix, and then also obviously Connolly, yeah, played with him pretty much since he started. He actually started quite late for considering where he is now. I think he started around about the same time as Bailey, and he's 2 years older than him. Um, and obviously, went over to Canada, kind of didn't see them for a while, and then obviously I've come back, practicing with the Storm. Obviously, I've been seeing Connor every day, and obviously now he's gone over to the BCHL with So yeah, I think I've got and also Jason Burgess, who also plays for the D-side Dragons. Um, I've played with him pretty much my whole life as well. I think him the longest actually. So obviously I live with him in Canada as well. So
Nice.
We've had a few, we've had a few games this season now. What's been your favourite game to play in this year, or your overall favourite game?
oh, that's a good question. I think there hasn't been kind of a highlight game this season yet, obviously, because we haven't really got into the end of the season. That's usually where the big games come up. But I think it's probably any game against Birmingham, to be honest. I love playing in them games, especially because they're obviously high level team. It's always good to you know go hard in them games, and especially when you score against them. Obviously, scoring against Birmingham, you can't knock it. It's a great feeling. So I'd probably say any game a bit against Billingham, to be honest.
Bailey, what about yourself?
Yeah. Obviously, I haven't been around long enough to play against a Billingham where we've battered them away. But yeah, I think obviously my biggest game was Solihull. Debut game, that was pretty big to me. But any game where I play well, I'm on a plus minus, so I've got a good plus. I'm on for our goals, and I'm not on for if they score any. Any game where I just think I played well personally, and my dad thinks I've played well. It's hard to point out one, but I think actually the last D-side game we played away, I thought that was kind of a standout game to me. I thought I played all right, confident, winning battles. Yeah, it just stands out.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
You got hit quite heavily. I can't remember. I think it might have been Matt Wainwright, and I remember shouting from the stands like, "Don't body him like that. He's got geography on Monday."
Yeah, I've got maths unit 1 in the morning, and you're hitting me like that.
No, but you did. You had a great game.
Yeah.
Great game. So this next part, we've got some questions that have been submitted in by Hawks and hockey fans alike. And to be fair, there's been quite a few for this one. This first question is from Tom Percival, and it's one for each of you. This is a great question, by the way. First up, Bailey. what have you found the hardest thing from transitioning from being a junior to a senior hockey player?
That is a tough one. I think we touched on it before. It's just the level of pressure you have. Like you jump straight in thinking, "Oh my God, it's going to be madness." There's men coming at me. Like it's going to be mad. But yeah, I think. Well, I hope I took that pretty well, and and I learned from that, and then I can feel less pressure, and but yeah, thought I did that pretty well.
And secondly, for you, Josh, what advice would you give junior players wanting to play hockey at Div 1, National, and also the Elite League?
I'd say, obviously, it's always you got to put in the work outside, not just off the ice as well. You know, keep watching hockey because I think, you know, having a good hockey IQ is one of the most important things in the game, especially, you know, if, you know, you don't think your skills are there, you can work on the skills, but something that you can develop quite fast is just by watching hockey, watching YouTube videos, is your hockey IQ. You know, I think every coach is going to value a smart player. You know, they make the right decisions. You know, if you have a really skillful player who doesn't make the right decisions, then they're no good. Whereas if you have, you know, a player who's got, you know, average skating, average skills, but a great hockey IQ, always making the right decisions, I think that's really important. And I also think just listening to your coaches, it's just a simple thing because I think obviously some kids will just go off, do their own thing. But I think one of the most important things is just make sure you're listening to the people that are trying to help you. Which I think, obviously, at the end of the day, whether some kids like to admit it or not, they know better. You got to just do what they say because that's all you're gonna have to do when you go into the higher ranks. Is just listen to your coach, do what he says. So,
Brilliant. This next question's from Christian Ellis. He asks you both, are there any rinks in particular that have good ice and which ones have bad ice? You can start us off, Bailey.
I'd say Sheffield. I mean, they've got 2 rinks in one arena. The ice is just brilliant there, and that's probably why the finals are there. Well, is it the playoffs there?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably why they're there, because they've got the best facilities. And to be honest, I've obviously grew playing up juniors there, and GB trials have been there, England trials have been there. The amount of times I've been there, it's just I've got used to it as kind of like one of my own ice rinks to play on. So I think hopefully I can play pretty well there. I've got confidence. I know the rink pretty well. But yeah, I think that's also something that helps playing in away rinks. If you've played there before, you know the ins and outs, and it's kind of weird, but you kind of know how the boards work. And
yeah,
for me, it's like you know how to rim puck or something like that, chip it off the boards, because you know the distance. Because obviously some rinks our rinks are a lot different size to Solihull's, and yeah, it's also key to get used to them because you'll be playing there a couple of times a season.
Yeah, it's like knowing where like the Zamboni doors are, because you can get them sweet little like knocks off it, can't you? And you know how to play it.
Yeah.
Which rinks would you say don't have the best ice? You can say Blackburn if you want, because it isn't the best.
I wouldn't say Blackburn. Well, sometimes it's kind of on and off Blackburn, I'd say. Sometimes it can be rubbish. Sometimes it can be all right. But I'd say, obviously I haven't been around the country much, but I'd say the worst rink I've played in is Whitley Bay. I think everyone would say that, to be honest. I don't like the stands and the atmosphere. It's just gloomy. They've got a couple lights on, and I don't think. Hopefully, well, obviously we've rescheduled the game to play there.
Yeah,
I've got a bit more time to prepare now, but their ice and the atmosphere of that rink is just I can't stand it.
Look forward to February 15th then.
Yeah, well, I will have to prepare myself and push through it. Hopefully, it won't get to my head though. I'll block everything out, and obviously the ice being rubbish, isn't a massive excuse. So yeah, I'll have to play my best. And obviously, this is senior hockey now, so I can't mess about. If I make a bad pass because of the ice, I need to make that pass harder next time. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll have a great game. Don't worry about it, buddy. And what about you, Josh? Which would you say is the worst and which is the best?
The worst is kind of it's a difficult one because obviously you've got some rinks that are just horrible to play in, like Solihull. I hate playing there. The ice is good, but it's tiny. There's no glass. The fans stick their elbows out when you get hit through the netting. Start chirping you about doing your homework in the morning when you're on face-offs as well. But ice-wise, yeah, Whitley Bay is pretty bad. I don't think it's the worst, but I'm not a fan of Blackburn, so I do have to say it. I'm not a fan of it. I feel like the puck kind of kicks away from me quite a lot there, but I think the atmosphere and the big corners, I think that it makes up for it. So
Brilliant.
Just while we're on the subject of ice, Josh, you've just come back from playing with GB under-20s in Latvia. When we were seeing that on YouTube there, watching you play, that didn't look the best either. It looked pretty dry.
Like a bouncy castle.
Yeah, it was for under-20s. It was in Croatia. It was in Zagreb.
Oh, Croatia, sorry.
I think where we played, obviously it was a blow-up rink. It was like a kind of an igloo kind of thing, because I think the arena was under construction, I think, at that time. But I mean, a lot of the boys didn't like the ice, but I didn't find it that bad, to be honest. I didn't mind it. But I think it was a bit on the smaller side lengthwise, definitely. And obviously there's a lot of echo there as well, because obviously you're in a massive blow up kind of igloo thing. And obviously all the doors to get into the actual rink were all revolving doors, so you had to go kind of two at a time with someone pushing the door. But yeah, I don't think it was too bad. I don't think it was too bad. The benches were big, which is what you like to see. Just having room on the bench is so much better. Like when you go to D side, you're all squashed together. It's like you can't change for your guy because there's not enough space, so you just have to go 1, 2, 3. But yeah, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it at all, to be honest. So
This next question then is another one off Facebook. This is from Mark Rhodes. What's been the difference, Josh, when training with the Hawks and the Storm?
I think I touched on it earlier. It's just the pace at which you're thinking at, and obviously also the pace of passes that you're receiving as well. I think that's probably the biggest difference. And obviously, the professional athletes at the end of the day, they're a lot, bigger, a lot stronger. You kind of a lot harder to move. And yeah, I think the main thing is like the pace at which you need to think. The passes coming at you left, right, and centre. Positional players obviously very, very strict. If you're not in the right spot, then they will punish you for your mistakes. So yeah, I'd probably say the decision making.
This next one was sent in by Jordan McKernan, one person that is a familiar face among Hawks fans and probably some of the players as well. It's one for you both. Would you ask them how did it feel to win against D-side?
Yeah, obviously home and away. I was dead hyped up actually at the away game. I felt actually a bit ill in the morning, but I said to myself, I'm just going to go out there and sweat it out. But yeah, I felt dead confident. The fans were amazing, which is good to see, especially on away games. They're coming to pay and you want to do the best for them. But yeah, I think the performance we had both days was just outstanding. We played really well as a team. And yeah, I think we'd proved the fans that, we're doing this all for you, and like we want to win for you. We want to, we're doing battles for you, and yeah, just let them know that we're still in.
Now, this next one is from Tom Kavanagh. It was also sent in from Facebook. There's one for each of you. First of all, Josh, how do you handle the nervous feelings before big games?
I think Well, there's kind of this thing about how nerves is just excitement in disguise, which I think is, I think that's pretty much bang on.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think nerves aren't particularly a bad thing. Like I know when I did my first, Storm game, they actually keep you going. Like you can skate a lot faster than you usually do because that adrenaline kind of keeps you going. So I think you just kind of got to capitalize on that and just kind of help. Like it makes you bear down on pucks better. Makes you more makes you be able to skate faster. It's just adrenaline at the end of the day, and you can use it to your advantage. And I think a lot of people, they get nerves and they kind of shy away. But I think you've just kind of got to fight not for that not to happen to you, and just at the end of the day, you just got to play hockey. You know what I mean? I've been doing it my whole life, so I think you just got to play. You got to play your game, stick to the basics, do them well, and I think yeah, you'll be fine.
Secondly, Bailey, which player do you look up to and why?
Is that in this our team or is that?
Let's go for both. So let's in the current roster that we have, and maybe someone else outside of the Hawks.
I think the legacy that Aaron Davies has at Blackburn is impressive. He's respected by everyone at the rink. He's respected by all the fans, and just to be liked by players as well. It's just nice to have. So I kind of look up to Aaron and the things he does. But outside of our team, I'd say Ben O'Connor was a great defenseman.
Fantastic player.
I think watching him growing up, obviously I didn't understand the game very much, but him and my dad were very close, and obviously I think now that tells me how good of a player he was. Watching highlights back of games which my dad was playing in, and he'd be playing as well. I think that just kind of also gives me motivation to be the best, and just knowing all these players that my dad's played with just kind of pushes me to get to the level they're at and play as best as I can.
This final question is for Bailey as well, and it's from an anonymous source. How was training last night, and what did you forget to take?
Oh, well, I know this one is off. It's either Ali, the equipment man, or it's off my dad. Because last night I forgot my leg pads and I had to emergency take Aaron Davies. So, I don't know what I was doing. I was packing my bag before we left, and I left my leg pads above my stall. So that was kind of bad. But I think practice went pretty well last night. I knew that I'm not going to let these leg pads put me down, so I pushed myself, and I thought I did all right with them on, to be honest. Different feeling, but pretty old pads. So yeah, I had to keep pushing through it, but it was fine in the end.
Do you obviously, like, we know there's the fine system that goes on in the changing. Did you get fined for that last night?
Well, it was kind of a secret, but whoever's listening to this might get fined now.
Mr. Watson will be jiggling the change bag now, won't he? Once of them fines.
In every right, though. In every right.
Well and truly.
Yep.
Radio. So me and Graham, like, when we're coming in, we like to ask about teams you support. So obviously, like, who's your favourite hockey team? Who do you follow? Anyone in particular?
Obviously, I just watch hockey. Like, if there's an NHL game on, I'll just watch it, and I want to watch what the D are doing and how they do it. So I think if I had to pick a team from the NHL, I'd probably pick the Oilers. I think just obviously, I know Josh kind of brought the NHL to me. He told me what the NHL was when I was little, and he just kind of gave me a team to support. So I think just from growing up, I kind of followed them a bit. Kept up with their scores, and obviously they were in the playoffs last season for the Stanley Cup 7 games. So I thought I was watching all them, and obviously they were doing pretty well until the last couple of games when they went to Florida, and it was just I couldn't believe that they'd gone from like winning 7-0 to then losing in the final game. But yeah, I just watch hockey all round, and trying to put their gameplay into mine and try and use it as a strength and how they do stuff and try and use that and how I can do that.
Yeah. What about any other sport? Do you follow football or anything like that?
Yeah, my family's massive in football. So my great granddad was the vice president for City, Manchester City. So we go to all the home games. Well, this season it's been a bit harder because of the Hawks. But if there's a game on and if we're not playing, then I'll go and watch them. But yeah, I think Manchester City is the best club in the world, and obviously the way they're playing at the moment isn't great. But hopefully Pep can do something with these new signings we brought in the January window. But yeah, I think outside of hockey is City.
What about you, Josh?
Yeah, I think in the NHL, I think I probably have to go with Edmonton Oilers. I don't follow NHL too much, obviously, because being in the UK, it's not a very ideal place to follow the NHL, especially since you can't really watch games live without staying up till stupid o'clock. But yeah, I'd probably go with Edmonton Oilers. Obviously, growing up, I used to watch lots of videos of like Conor McDavid when he was like 17 and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'd probably have to go. Yeah, I'd probably go with them.
What about any other sport? Do you follow any other sport?
I mean, I support United. Obviously, it's just kind of like a family thing. My dad supports United, and obviously,
Bet that was fun growing up with you two then.
oh, it's not a fun time being a United supporter in Thomas' house. I'll tell you that. Any opportunity he gets, I'll tell you.
He'll get you.
Always. And what is obviously, like me being the DJ and stuff, I've got to ask a music related question. What's on the Spotify playlist for you both at the minute?
Well, I'll have to get my phone out for that one.
I'd probably say, like Travis Scott, Frank Ocean, just like I listen to quite a lot of Rihanna before a game as well.
Yeah.
Arctic Monkeys, Radiohead. I've got quite a broad music taste, to be honest. So
That's a good thing, though, I think.
yeah, I got lots
Definitely.
of different genres. So anything really, to be honest with you. So,
Yeah, for me, I've got quite a wide range of taste. So I like the Blossoms, which is a Stockport local band.
Yeah.
I think some of their music's pretty good. I quite like 80s music a bit as well. Just the music then was amazing. So I think I've got a couple songs from that time. Yeah, the Blossoms, MGMT, that's pretty good. I like some of their songs. Richard Ashcroft, I like his songs. Obviously Oasis. And yeah, I quite like Radiohead as well. I like their music. And I think my favorite would be MF Doom. I think he's passed away now, but just some of his music that he had, it's kind of my taste. And that's a song that's just on before games, every day, before school, after school. It's just an all round kind of genre.
Nice.
No worries. Well, 80s wise, I think we've got something special coming up in the arena in the next few weeks with regards to 80s. I don't know how much I can say on it at the second, but if you want to send me over any songs for that, I'll get them on for you gladly. So yeah, that's awesome. Radio, Graham, your turn.
You touched on it a little bit earlier, Josh, about going away with GB, and I think you've been away with them twice this season. I think under 18s and under 20s. Just tell the listeners how that process works, how you get selected, and just what happens during that process.
Yeah, so it's kind of obviously in this country, ice hockey's not as big as it is in Canada, so I think like younger players, like their names are always kind of been in the system, because they know who the good players are, they know who's kind of meant to be in that kind of program. So I think they invite you to like a trial, obviously with like back like I think it's not called conference anymore, but they used to like, scout players from conference, go to conference tournaments and stuff like that, and then you'd get invited to GB trials. I think it starts at under 16s GB, but the World Championships starts at 80 at under 18s. So they get loads of players to come and do a camp, and obviously the selection process starts then. Each camp they'll cut a certain amount of players and then whittle the team down until they've got their final team. And then if you're kind of playing abroad, then they'll keep a close eye on you. And then obviously and they might even have like trials during the holidays, so they can kind of be obviously because that's when they come home for the holidays. So yeah.
The call up for the under 20s, that was quite short notice, wasn't you? I know me and Aidan were talking just before we come on air, and you'd played a lot of games recently just prior to that. I think like 2 games just straight before you went away.
Yeah, so I was on my way back from Hull after playing for Telford, and obviously Tom Watkins he rang my dad, who's also the coach for Telford, obviously. So I just kind of thought he was asking how the game went, because I think I had quite a good game that game. I think I got 2 points, so I thought he was just ringing my dad to talk about the game. And then he was just saying that they'd had a couple of injuries and they need me to fly out tomorrow. So
Nice.
yeah.
There was a bit of a rumble at the end of one of those games. I don't want to like throw you under the bus or anything like that, but do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was a massive brawl at the end of the game. I think, there's all this talk about like people like how they sent their bench and stuff. But I think nobody really wants to fight in double IHF at the end of the day, because it can really screw you over later on in the like further down the line,
Yeah,
especially with
definitely.
an 18s tournament coming up in Italy. A lot of the players, there were quite a few under 18s players on that team, so you don't really want to get banned and miss out games in the next World Championship. So I think people just tried to stay out of it as much as possible, well, when they could anyway. So
You've played like a number of games internationally for GB. Which is the toughest nation you've faced?
oh, I'd probably say that the Lithuania team that we played in under 20s, I think they were, if you just look at the stats, they were pretty dominant in that tournament.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think they definitely deserve to go up in that to the next division. So I'd probably say them, especially since it's also like they're a lot older, considering they're under 20s as well. So that's always a bit tougher as well.
You've also been selected for GB in the past, haven't you, Bailey? Was it under 16s, I think?
Yeah, under 16s. We went to the Riga Cup in Latvia.
Oh, nice.
That was an amazing experience. The way we ran things, I think we run the same systems all the way through from 16 to seniors. So whatever system the senior team is doing, we'll replicate that and do it at our level. But yeah, I think there was a system for any scenario, which I think helped, because if you were stuck in a situation where you need help getting out, you knew where your forwards were, you knew where your D man was, your D partner. And we got bronze, I think, in that tournament, which is pretty good for a British team to go over there and play a bunch of foreigners. So yeah, I think play with that system's helped really well. Poland were, I think, the team that beat us in the semi-final, I think, and obviously getting up to the level and then playing another international team was amazing. But obviously the win wasn't in our favour.
Which would you say is the toughest country you faced then? Probably Poland.
Yeah, obviously the Riga Cup, any team can play in. So I think there was a team which was just a select team from players out of Latvia, I think. But yeah, obviously as an international team, Poland was our toughest opponent.
Josh, you said the call up for the under 20s, you were just literally driving back and they wanted you to fly out in the Monday. How does that work out? I mean, are you going to college? Do you have to drop your college work, or do they say like, look, go to Manchester, there's a ticket waiting for you? How does that work out for yourself?
Well, they sort out all the flights and stuff. It's not really that much of a difficult process. They'll just send the flight details over, the boarding pass, and then it's just a case of my dad getting me there. I think I flew out from Stansted.
Oh, you had to drive you, didn't you? I remember
Yeah.
speaking to him, yeah.
Yeah, he had to obviously drive me there and then long drive back for him as well. But it's kind of a case of wherever you need to, when you get that opportunity, it's just kind of a case of wherever you want him, we'll get him there, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
So obviously the pair of you play a lot of hockey, you do a lot of training, but what else do you guys do when you're off the ice? What other hobbies have you got? Are you into gaming, anything like that?
Yeah. Obviously, I've got school, so my day is pretty taken up. And I've got tutors after school that I have to do. Obviously, it's a big year for me, GCSE wise. I need to pass them. But yeah, we've got, I think, obviously, me and Josh play online games sometimes, play a bit of COD, just a bit of everything, to be honest. But yeah, that's probably a hobby for me. Just when I get a bit of free time, I'll just chill on there.
Josh, I think, is it Luke Riley? He was starting to stream on it. I know we were talking about that on one of the coaches to one of the games, weren't we? Luke
Oh
Riley.
yeah, I still haven't got that. Still haven't got his name yet. You won't tell it.
Yeah,
I'll get there eventually though.
he won't give us his streaming name.
No.
What GCSEs are you doing, Bailey? Just out of interest.
So I've picked, obviously you've got science, maths, English, and then I've picked photography. I thought that would, because it wasn't a writing exam, I thought, I might just pick this. It's a bit easier. And I quite like the hear of it anyway. So I've picked photography. I've picked BTEC PE. I didn't have the science for GCSE PE, so I had to go to BTEC. And then I've also picked geography. I think I just had a thing for it. Obviously, had to learn it before year 10, and I kind of enjoyed it, so I just kept it going and just kind of went from there and picked it as an option.
Nice. So what do you do off the ice, Josh? What hobbies are you into?
Yeah, I play a bit of Xbox every now and then. Like to go to the driving range, play a bit of golf. I'm not very good, but it's a sport that I'd love to get good at. So go to the driving range a bit, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And obviously going to the gym for hockey as well. That's always important, especially as a smaller player. You kind of got to keep on top of your physicality. And then hockey. So shooting pucks in the garden and stuff like that. So
I'd put out there I'm better than Josh at golf.
okay, well let's not get into this now.
Birdie on a par 3, so I'm going to put that out there.
I think we need to get into this.
Here's a story for you. So I've been golfing like a few times. Like I'm not like a newbie. I'm not very good, but I've been on a course a couple of times. And so I took Bailey golfing for I think it's like the first time he properly.
That was my
golfing.
first proper course.
Yeah.
First full 18 hole.
Okay, and then so pretty much, I just like to add, pretty much every hole other than this one was we didn't even count it because he couldn't get anywhere near the hole. And then there's this one par 3, and he tees up the ball, strikes it perfectly, just lands right next to the hole. I was absolutely gobsmacked. I couldn't believe it.
Just had to tap it in.
He just tapped it in. And
I
then,
might just make happy. If hockey doesn't go well, I'll just turn into Happy Gilmore and turn into golf.
And obviously, as you can imagine, I did not hear the end of it for the rest of the day, and I still don't.
Well, there is a way they can sort this out. 'Cause, the Blackburn Hawks do have a golf day, and I think it's just been announced for the 15th of August this year.
Oh,
hopefully we'll get to see both of you two down on Blackburn Golf Course doing
I
the
might have to prove Josh. Might have to prove Josh who's actually better at golf.
Yeah, we having a wedge on this place.
Let's let the golf do the talking, Bailey. Come on now.
Oh,
Okay, mate. Okay.
So there we go. Josh and Bailey are going to be at Blackburn Golf Course on the 15th of August, teeing off against each other.
I'll have to strap some GoPros to them and get some footage.
That'd be good.
So one last question for you both before we let you go. Any goals or aspirations you want to achieve on or off the ice for the rest of the season?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think obviously for this year is my GCSEs is my goal. If I pass them, I've got benefits that will be hockey wise and personally. So I just think I need to get through this year, do my best in them, and hopefully the outcome will be somewhat good.
And what about on the ice?
On the ice, I'd say, obviously, I really want to work my way up the lines. Obviously, you can't just be that first line defenceman. I really just want to push myself to try to get up the lines in the team, and just be the best. But it just doesn't come straight away or overnight. It's so much hard work, and you've got to put all the work in to get there.
Brilliant. What about you, Josh?
For me, I think it's just performing the best I can on the ice, and I think obviously, with playing at all these different teams, I need to kind of keep on top of my physicality off the ice as well. Keep going to the gym, keep disciplined, make sure habits don't slip, and just keep doing the best I can, try and perform at the highest level I can. So, yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you guys for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, Graham. Thank you, Aidan.
Yeah, thanks, Graham. Thanks, Aidan.
Thanks, lads. Best of luck as well, Bailey, for your GCSEs. I hope everything goes well.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Brilliant. And best of luck to you both for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Graham.
Hawks Talk.